Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading books at my own pace. So, if you're interested in that sort of thing too, I do invite you to subscribe down below. And if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you visiting me here again. And so, let's go ahead and get into this video. I am, as you can see, I am recording in a new location. This is actually a secondary bedroom in my house. I came in here to kind of clean things up because I will be using this as an office space. I this like corner right here to work in, and I thought it would just come in here, reorganize. And while I was doing that, I was like, you know what? Let me see how the lighting is in here. And so I really like how the lighting is in here. So I may be filming in here as well as from my reading lounge. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into what this video is all about. And so, yes, I want to share with you all some books that I purchased before creating this channel and got back into reading regularly. I got back into reading around May, June. And so I did purchase some books during that time as well as recently. Now, my goal is to utilize my library and minimize like having a whole lot of physical books because it does create a lot of clutter. However, I did fall down the rabbit hole, but it's okay. But I do intend on reading these books. So let me go ahead and show you all what books that I got. So as you can see, this is a shelving unit. It's not like for books specifically. I guess it can be for books, but this belongs to my man, and he houses his CDs. I don't know if you can see his CDs and things like that here. He's a collector of CDs. He's a music lover, and so he had this installed a couple months ago. And so because I am going to be working in this space, I cleared out this section here, took out the shelves, and I'm going to be housing some books in here, maybe some work related stuff as well. But the books I'm going to be sharing with you all are up there. So let me go ahead and get those down so I can go ahead and show you what I got. As you can see, it's a lot of books. Okay, it's a lot of books. So let's go ahead and talk about what I got. All right, so the first book that I want to share with you all is called The Davenports by Crystal Marquis or Marquise. And this is how the book came. It came packaged because this cover is so beautiful. It's like a gold, and I guess they really wanted to protect the book, which I can appreciate. All of these books were purchased on Amazon. Amazon is just efficient in cost and very accessible. And so this is what the book looks like. It is so pretty. These beautiful black people on the cover and this nice golden, glistening, shiny cover. It's absolutely beautiful. I do believe this is a historical fiction. Let me read a little bit about what it's about really quick. I may or may not do that for all of the books just because I do have a lot of books here. One of my favorite genres is historical fiction. Just in case you are new here, I had to put my glasses on really quick so I can read the back of these books. It says the Davenports are one of the few black families of immense wealth and status in a changing United States, owing to William Davenport, a formerly enslaved man who founded the Davenport Carriage Company years ago. So as you can see, it probably is going to be about a family saga, a family of substance and wealth who maybe are pillars in the community and all the drama that goes along with that. So I cannot wait. This is about, how many pages? A little shy of 400 pages. And so I can't wait to get to that one. All right. So the next book is called Mustard Seed. And so this is a series, actually. This is a series, the Yellow Caucus series. I bought the first book a few months back, and then, I don't know, because the story sounds very interesting. Again, it is a historical fiction. I definitely wanted to have book number 2 on hand for when I read the first book. So this takes place in Oberlin, Ohio in 1868, another historical fiction. Elizabeth Johnson was born into privilege in the antebellum South. Jordan Friedman was born a slave to Maddie, Elizabeth's beloved nurse. The women have an unlikely bond deeper than friendship. So it follows these two ladies. The black lady, she was born a slave, and she's the nurse to the privileged one here, probably the master's daughter, I'm thinking. But this premise sounded very, very interesting. And I think it's something like a 5 book series. Now, this is going to be my first like time since going back into reading that I've actually read like a series of books. Usually I'm like a one and done type girly. So I've never been one to like really get into like a series of books. But since I've gotten older and my tastes have kind of changed and I'm opening up to different genres, different style of books and things like that, this one was very intriguing to me and I cannot wait to read this one. And so that is Mustard Seed, book number 2 of the Yellow Caucus series. The next book is King or Deacon King Kong by James McBride. I do have his book Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, which is also a historical fiction novel. It's by a black male author as well. And so I've never read any of his work, but I have seen him around, just have not um, took the time out to read his work. But I think this one was one of the New York Times 10 best books of the year. So I found out about this one from Goodreads, and also it was Oprah's book club in 2020. And so this one is a little under 400 pages as well. And so I'm not going to go into the synopsis of each and every book. So that's that. All right. So the next one is a very popular book. As you can see, this is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. And so I have been wanting to or anxiously awaiting to read this book, but I'm the type of person that does not like to follow the hype or read books when everybody else is reading them. I like to maybe dig in the author's older catalog or maybe some books that nobody is talking about just so I can get a sense of the person's writing before I pick up like the most popular books. And so I have been resisting purchasing this book. Actually, I tried to check this out on the library, but everybody and their mama is reading this book. And so the whole time was like so great. And because it was like $6.97 on Amazon, I thought I would just go ahead and pick it up. So I'll have it on hand for when I am ready to read it. And so I have read The Teacher by Frida McFadden, and I love that book. I gave it a 4. It was very enthralling, gripping. I mean, I was like this, like turning the pages. And so far, the hype is what it seems to be about this author. And so I can't wait to get to that. But I don't think it'll be anytime soon. I want to read a few more of her other, like, not as popular books before I actually read this one. So the next one is The Soul of Black Folks by W.E. Du Bois. And I think this one was on my wish list for some time. And I decided to just pick it up. This was very affordable on Amazon. It's like only 123 pages. And yeah, so I decided to go ahead and pick this one up. And I'll be reading that probably soon. All right, so the next book is this one. My Name is Ona Judge by Suzette D. Harrison. This book actually got damaged in the rain, but it's not a bad copy. It's just a little bit warped, like on the end pages or whatever, the end of the book. So when I reach 100 subscribers, I probably will be giving this one away. It's not a bad copy at all, but they did replace it for me. As you can see, it's in pristine. Like the cover is not damaged or anything. The back is not damaged. It's just these little pages that you can see was damaged by the rain. So still readable, still a good copy. But yeah, this is about another historical fiction set in New Hampshire, 1796. It says, I escaped from the household of the President of the United States. I was the favorite maid of George and Martha Washington. Actually, this, I think, is the fictional book of another nonfiction book, Never Found. I think that's what it sounds like to me. So I will be reading one of those books very, very soon, just because I have just been interested in finding out what happened to the slave that was never caught. That's the name of the book, Never Caught. And reading this synopsis, it sounds like it's the same book because the slave who was never caught was a slave of George Washington. And so I will be giving this copy away once I reach about 100 subscribers, I think. So that is my name is Ona Judge. The next one is a romance novel. I'm really not a romance girly or have not, historically been a romance girly. However, I am expanding my palette. And so romance seems to be a hot like genre. It wasn't like that on YouTube or BookTube a couple years ago. It wasn't. It was really only select people who were reading romance novels. And so I don't know what happened. Maybe TikTok and maybe the younger generations are reading romance novels, and there's a lot more authors, I think, writing contemporary romance. And so that's maybe why, romance is now a popular genre. And so I am open to reading romance. And so again, The Art of Scandal by Regina Black. It says, wow, steamy, utterly heartwarming. And that was said by Tia Williams. I don't have any of her books, but I heard she's a really good author. And so briefly, it says, one night, on the night of her husband Matt's 40th birthday, Rachel Abbott receives a sexy, explicit text from her husband that she quickly realized was meant for another woman. Okay, so I'm going to stop at that. That sounds very enticing, enthralling. And so, yeah, can't wait to get to this one. The next one is a thriller novel. Now, I love thriller documentaries, like watching the thrillers, suspense movies on TV, but for some reason, I was never really someone who would pick up or wanted to read a thriller novel until now. Like I said, I'm getting older. My taste is kind of changing. Well, not my taste, but I'm starting to read things like this. And so this is the book by Riley Sager. This is my first time or my first book by him, Survive the Night. And it just says, what if the ride was your last? So that's all I'm going to say about that book. And so I heard he's a really good thriller writer and can't wait to get into him. All right. This is the next set of books here. And so the first one that I got, this one has been on my wish list for quite some time. I do have Isabel Wilkerson's The Warmth of Other Suns. Actually, I did a random wheel spinner, and that book was the third book I was supposed to read, but that book is like probably 600, 700 pages, something like that. It's a little bit intimidating, and so I don't know if I'm ready to do that just yet. Maybe like at the end of the year, I'll pick that up because I would really want to have some time with that book since it's so long. But this one is a chunker too. So this is called Cast, and it's The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. She is a Pulitzer Prize winner of Warmth of Other Suns. She explores how America throughout history has been shaped by a hidden caste system, a rigid hierarchy of human rankings, immersive, deeply researched, and beautifully written. That's one thing I heard about her. She's all facts. She's all about data in her books. Her books are very well researched, and so can't wait to get into this one. This one, like I said, is about almost 500 pages. Well, not quite. She's got some notes in the back. So a little over 400 pages. So not bad. It looks thick, but it's not that bad. All right. So the next book is a newer purchase, and this one is called The Color of a Lie. I love that cover. And this is also, I think, a historical fiction. Just a few blurbs. It says heart pounding, gut wrenching, a fast paced historical thriller. So it's not only historical fiction, but it's a historical thriller, which I have yet to read anything like this. Both grappling with the horror of segregated America and celebrating the bravery of everyday citizens fighting for a better world. So Calvin knows how to pass for white. He's done it plenty of times for his friends in Chicago when they wanted food but weren't allowed in a restaurant, for work when he and his dad traveled for the Green Book. This is different. After a tragedy in Chicago forces the family to flee, they resettle in a all-white suburb town in search of a better life. Calvin's father wants to embrace their new lifestyle, but that's easier said than done. Hiding your true self is exhausting, which leads Calvin across town where he can make black friends who knows all of him and where he can spend more time with his new crush, Lily. But when Calvin starts unraveling dark secrets about the white town and inhabitants, passing begins to feel even more suffocating. So I read a book called Passing a couple of years ago. I actually watched the movie. I think the movie was on Netflix. I didn't really like the movie. It was a little weird. Yeah, so it sounds like it might be a little like that, but more thrilling. Yeah, so I can't wait to get to this one. This one is by Kim Johnson. Never heard of that author. I've never heard anybody talk about that book either. So the next book is called Unmissing. This is another thriller. This is by Minka Kent. And so um, it says, weak, broken, and emaciated. It's Luca's first wife, Lydia, missing for 10 years, presumed dead. And I think they thought she was kidnapped and then she reappears or something like that. And so that sounds interesting. And so I just picked this one up just because it sounds interesting. And so it's not a very long book at all. It's only 241 pages. So cannot wait to read this one. The next one is called The One by John Mars. And this is the cover. I heard someone talk about this book. I don't remember her name, but she also makes YouTube videos as well. But she said this one is good. And the way she talked about this book, now when I'm listening to people review books and things like that, I do listen like maybe to the first part, but when they're specifically talking about plottish type things, just because I like to go into a book knowing as little as possible, enough to get me interested in reading it. But I don't really know what this book is about. And so this one just sounds so good. And so it just says a simple DNA test is all it takes, just a quick mouth swab, and soon you'll be matched with your perfect partner, the one you're genetically made for. That's a promise made by Match Your DNA. A decade ago, the company announced that they have found the gene that pairs each of us with our soulmate. And so that sounds very interesting. And the way she talked about it was like, I think she gave that book a 5. And so I can't wait to read that. All right, so the next one is by an author that I am currently getting into. This is Jessamine Ward. I've known about this author for a while, but I'm just finally getting into her works. And so I am reading her memoir right now, which is The Men We Reap. And I am loving that memoir. It's very different from any memoir I have ever read. And so, yeah, this one is called Salvage the Bones. And I do believe this is maybe in a series. Maybe not, but the way it was set up on Amazon, it made it seem like it was. Adjustment is a national bestseller, I should say, and I'm not sure what type of book this is, but it may be like a historical fiction novel. Maybe. When I say historical fiction, maybe not that far back. All right, so the next one is called The Nurse's Secret by Amanda Skeenendor. And so anything nursing, like a suspense thriller with in the medical field, because I am a nurse myself, I want to read. I want to read. And so this one sounded really interesting. Now, this is a historical fiction. It sounds like it's a mystery thriller type book. And so I was really interested in this. It says in the slums of 1880s, New York, Una Kelly has grown up to be a rough and tumble grifter, able to filch a pocketbook in 5 seconds flat. But when another con woman pins her for a murder she didn't commit, Una is forced to flee. Running from the police, Una lies her way into a utter unlikely refuge, the nursing school at Bellevue Hospital. Okay, so that sounds really interesting. And so can't wait to read this one. All right, the next one is called The Thread Collectors by Shauna Edwards and Allison Richmond. So two authors here. This is what it looks like. I love the premise of this. It's again another historical fiction in a small Creole cottage in New Orleans. An ingenious young black woman named Stella embroiders intricate maps on repurposed cloth to help enslaved men flee and join the Union Army. Bound to a man who would kill her if he knew of her clandestine activities, Stella has to hide not only her efforts, but her love for William, a black soldier and a brilliant musician. So, yeah, that sounds very, very interesting. And so, can't wait to get into this one. All right, so the last book that I want to share with you is a Frida McFadden. And so this one will probably be the next book that I read. It's called The Wife Upstairs. I haven't heard anybody really talk about this one from her, but all of Frida's books, well, not all of them because I've only read one, but that book was 400 pages. Seem to be chunkers, but they're easy reads. Like, I mean, I can get through this, not that I'm trying to read my books fast because I am a slow reader by nature. I like to digest what I am reading, but her books read very easy and you just keep turning the pages. So I can get through them pretty quickly, because they're just easy, digestible reads. And so it says it was her house first. So that right there says it all. Okay, can't wait to get to that one. All right, so that is it. That is all of the books that I want to share with you all that I have been purchasing over the recent months since I have gotten back into reading. I am interested and will be reading all of these books that I showed you because I am committed to not wasting my money, letting books sit on the shelf and not reading them. I really do want to enjoy what I spend my money on. I love the premise of each book, so I'm very eager to read each and every one of them. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think without any spoilers, of course. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you guys in the next. Bye.